What is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to some more Modern Warfare. Hope you all had a good Christmas. So for today's video I thought I would do some tips and tricks for newcomers to Modern Warfare since a lot of new people have joined the game just after the holidays. And if you were anything like me when I started playing, you're probably getting your arses whooped out there. Okay, so tip number one is to pay attention to the minimap and your compass. So in this game, you can only see enemies on the minimap if one of your teammates or yourself have a UAV active or you have a personal radar orb. However, this doesn't mean that the minimap is completely useless outside of that. You can always see your teammates' positions as well, and if you go to the options menu, you get a full-size version of the map, and that is often a handy tool to find out where your teammates are positioned, and from there, you can probably guesstimate where the enemies are going to be spawning, since they usually spawn on the opposite side of the map to where your team is spawning. Now, the compass lies along the top of your screen, and this is a tool that many players completely disregard and don't pay any attention to. So you'll notice these little red flashing dots up there, and those are actually the directions of players who are currently firing their weapon. Now if you're halfway across the map, of course, you only really get a general direction of where that player is and in which direction. You can't tell how far away the player is or in which direction they are turning. So sometimes you have to take this information with a grain of salt. Don't just go charging in the direction of a red dot hoping to get a kill, because somebody might come in and flank you from the side. But for example, if you happen to be at the edge of a map and there's only a small building between you and the edge of the map and the compass is telling you somebody is firing right in front of you, you pretty much know for certain that they're going to be within that building. Just be aware, however, that players with suppressors on their weapons do not appear on the compass, so if you thought you heard suppressed fire nearby, but you didn't see a ping on the compass, that could be the explanation. So those are both great tools for helping out with your situational awareness and really just figuring out where the enemy team is. And another one are footsteps. So in this game, footsteps are super loud. You really need to pay attention to them. Now, Infinity Ward have been tweaking the footstep sounds through walls, up above, down below you, with pretty much every patch that has come out. They've constantly been being changed, and unfortunately, I don't think you can really distinguish well enough between your teammates' footsteps and the enemy footsteps.
Hardpoint secured.
Of course, in real life, it would make sense that teammate footsteps would be just as loud as enemy footsteps that are close to you, but in a game setting it would be much more helpful if they dumbed down the sound of your teammates' footsteps a little bit, maybe made them half volume so that you could much more easier hear the enemy footsteps. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of the time I spin around thinking there's an enemy there only to find a teammate. But in any case, you should make an effort to try and ADS around corners and generally just walk slower, because if you're sprinting all over the place, the sound of your own footsteps is going to mask everybody else's, so you're not going to hear that guy coming around the corner. So these three different tools that help with your situational awareness can sort of be paired together to give you a mental reading of the map and where enemy players are, whether they're coming around the corner or not, just a general direction. Where is the front line? Where is the danger going to be? Where do you need to stop sprinting and say, okay, I'm going to start ADSing around this corner now because there could be a player around here. I saw some fire on my compass a couple of seconds ago, or maybe I heard a few footsteps outside. So that brings me to my next tip, and that is to be wary of the extremely fast time to kill that Modern Warfare has. What this means is that players who get the jump on you and see you first are most likely going to come out on top. So to prevent this, make sure that you're taking things slow, especially as you're learning the layouts of the maps. Don't just sprint around corners willy-nilly when you don't even know if there could be an enemy lurking there or not. Try to get into the habit of ADSing more often than not and taking it slow. Don't go sprinting everywhere, just try to walk, listen out for enemy footsteps, look out for enemy fire on the compass, and try to get the drop on your enemy before they do on you. Of course, as you learn the maps more and more, you start to realize that there are areas that you can sprint through. You can start to use crouch sliding, and sometimes you can take campy players by surprise, but I'd say that's more of an advanced tactic once you really get to grips with the layout of the map. Okay, so this next tip is to help you out if you're running around with a naked gun and you keep coming up against opponents with 5 out of 5 attachments that are helping them win gunfights, and basically they have a much better weapon than you do. So if you come up here to weapons and go down here to the armory, you'll be able to check all of the skins that you have unlocked for various categories of weapons. However, even though these are called weapon skins, you can see up here they come with a variety of attachments already on the weapon. So if you go here into edit loadouts and take any of your loadouts here, go into select a weapon, you would select a weapon in the normal way. However, if we come over to, for example, assault rifles, you see this little button here next to the M4A1, it says Armory. That will allow you to pick one of these weapon skins for a particular weapon here. And when you pick the weapon skin and equip it, you also get all 5 of the attachments. So it doesn't matter if you don't have these attachments unlocked for the weapon, you can equip them and you can use them anyway. It also allows you to equip weapons that you haven't unlocked. So for example, the MP7 I believe you unlock at rank 53, but you can get this piercer loadout via one of the challenges, and you can equip this at like rank 5 if you wish to, which is a great idea because the MP7 is definitely one of the strongest SMGs in the game. Okay, so coming back into the options menu here, if we hop up into the barracks, go to missions and challenges, you can see which missions you've completed and which one you have selected. Now, the way that the missions work here is you select one. This is my active one at the moment, Warrior's Code, and then you have to work through the various steps of the mission one by one. So you can't go through all of these steps. You have to start at step number 1, which was get to public wins. Then you move on to step 2, and then 3, and then this is the one I'm on at the moment, get 20 kills with equipment, so essentially just grenade kills. And once you've unlocked all 12 of those steps, you will unlock, of course, a little bit of experience for each step and something small like a spray. But once you've finished all 12 steps, you will then get this particular skin for a weapon. So if we go up here to my completed ones, if you complete boot camp, which is pretty easy, that is how you get the piercer skin for the MP7, and that will then allow you to use the MP7 even though you haven't unlocked the weapon. Now, additionally, this is, of course, a great way to gain extra experience. You will also have daily challenges. Unfortunately for me, I've just done mine last night, so there aren't any here yet. They're going to reset in 1 hour and 50 minutes. But assuming you haven't done your challenges yet, you should have 3 of those. So I really recommend coming here before you start playing a session of Modern Warfare and checking on your mission and checking on your challenges and see what you can link up. For example, last night I had a challenge to simply get 50 kills with any weapon. That one's easy. And then I linked that up with a part of this objective here, which was to get 75 kills. So I was able to bang out both of those objectives at the same time. Now, additionally, once you get past rank 55 and you get into the officer ranks, you can come down here to rank progression, and for each officer rank that you obtain, you will unlock a ribbon assignment that you can complete. Some of them are easy, some of them not so much. For example, this one is to get 20 hipfire kills, whereas this one here, you have to get 30 kills with a cruise missile. So it's going to take you a little bit more time to get that one, but as you can see, it does award you 15,000 experience. So, you know, if you're an officer, I recommend coming up to these ranks and also taking a look at those, customizing your loadouts for whatever kind of challenges you have available to complete, and trying to bang out, you know, the officer challenges, the normal missions, and then your daily challenges all at the same time whilst you're playing. And that way, you should be able to rank up much faster than if you were just playing sort of any old how. Now, if you don't have any weapon skins unlocked or any attachments for a weapon, there is one other trick you can use, and that is actually during the kill cam. If somebody kills you, you should see a prompt on screen during the kill cam, which I think is pressing the X button on PC. On console, I'm not sure, but as I say, it will tell you on screen, and that will actually steal the loadout of the enemy player, and you can use the exact same setup as he is using, regardless of what your rank is. Now, aside from using these challenges to rank up faster in the game, you will also acquire XP tokens from various sources, and there are 2 kinds. There are normal XP tokens that will increase the amount of experience you gain for your main rank, and then you will also get weapon XP tokens, which will only increase the amount of experience you gain on a particular weapon. Just bear in mind that as soon as you use these tokens, they will start counting down. So it doesn't even matter if you're not in a game. If you just go AFK for 15 minutes to go to the toilet or whatever, grab something to eat, that XP token is going to be counting down, and most of them only last for half an hour or maybe a maximum of 1 hour. So just make sure you only use it when you're really going to cram all the time into playing the game. It's also worth mentioning that this won't double the XP of the challenges. So if you've got a challenge that will award you 10,000 XP, if you've got a double XP token on, it won't give you 20,000 XP, but it will double the experience from everything you do in game. So killing an enemy player will award you 200 XP rather than 100. Okay, so getting back to some more gameplay tips. So one of the most important things that I learned is once you unlock the throwing knives, if you happen to have those equipped, you will then be able to one-hit melee enemy players. If you don't have the throwing knives equipped, it will always take you 2 hits to melee somebody. So that's a really nice perk of the throwing knives, and don't forget, if you do get in close combat with somebody, often meleeing them can be the quicker option rather than frantically trying to spin around and spray them down with hipfire. Now another good tip is to use the blue overkill perk. Pretty simple, just use it. It's amazing. There really is no other blue perk that is better than overkill except for perhaps EOD, but only in a situation where you really don't need a secondary weapon that you're going to use a lot of the time. Overkill is just so handy. It means you can run around with a sniper in one hand and an SMG or a shotgun that is amazing at close quarters in the other. Additionally, you can simply take 2 assault rifles or 2 SMGs, and that way you don't even need to worry about running out of ammo, you don't need to take the munitions box perk, and if you end up spraying an enemy down and you're in the middle of a firefight, you don't have time to reload, no problem, you can just switch to your secondary weapon. Honestly, this perk is just ridiculously OP. I don't know why it's in the blue tier, because there really is hardly anything, like I say, except for EOD, which is its equal. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw this move to one of the other perk trees at some point. Now the only caveat of not using overkill is if you want to take a launcher. If you do use overkill, you have to choose another primary weapon, so launchers count as secondary, as do pistols. So for example, if you're somebody who likes playing a lot of ground war and you want to take out all of those annoying kill streaks in the sky and the enemy tanks and LAVs, then you might want to skip overkill, go for EOD instead, and take a launcher as your secondary. And finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about something called skill-based matchmaking, which is commonly abbreviated on forums to SBMM. So just to explain for those who don't know, skill-based matchmaking is a system that pairs you up with other players in quick play based on your skill at the game. So whilst you're playing the game, it is constantly recording what you're doing. How accurate are you? Where are you aiming your weapon? Where are you running? Which lanes of the map are you taking? How quickly are you reacting to enemy gunfire? It pretty much calculates everything. KD ratios, you name it. And it pairs you up against other players based on that. Now normally in a skill-based matchmaking system like a competitive system with leagues, you will be able to see which league you were in. So for example, if you were part of the Silver League and then all of a sudden you got promoted to the Gold League or the Platinum League, you would expect to have a hard time, right? Because now you're facing off against opponents that were in the league above you, and you can pretty much expect that you're not going to do very well. Well, this is essentially what the skill-based matchmaking system in Modern Warfare is doing as well, only there are no leagues. You have no way of seeing in which skill group or category you fall, and a lot of the time the system is switching you between skill groups based on how you did in your previous game. So you may experience this bouncing around where you have one game, you do really well, maybe you're in the top couple of positions for your team, you get some kill streaks, you're happy with your performance. But then you jump in a new game and behind the scenes, the system puts you into a higher skill group. And now all of a sudden, you're getting absolutely decimated, you're bottom of the scoreboard, you're going on like 5 kills and 20 deaths, you've got a minus KD, and it just makes you maybe feel awful. You think, wow, I was playing so great last game, why am I playing bad now? And this is basically just the skill-based matchmaker at work. So don't let it get you down, it's part of the game, it's a massive controversy, but that's a whole other topic for another video. There's a lot of players that are for it, a lot of players who are also against it. But in any case, if you do badly in a game, don't always assume it's because you're not learning or you're not stepping up. A lot of the time it can just be that you're being matched up with players that are far better than you. In any case, I hope these tips help you guys out if you're new to the game. I know that there are plenty of people watching who are veterans and probably way better at the game than I am, so feel free to leave your own tips down below if you think it's something that would help some novices. Thank you as always for watching the video, take care guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.